everybody, and welcome to the Nature Diary session for June, where we're going to be painting an emperor dragonfly. So I'll just share a short presentation I've put together about this stunning dragonfly. I've been seeing a lot of them in Witolea and also other places as well lately. So I thought they'd be great to paint this month. And they've got some great colors. Dragonflies I think they're really special anyway. They look a bit like fairies to me. So it's called, the scientific name for it is Anax imperator, and or imperator. And in Maltese, it's called Mozzarella Sultan. And this is where they're found across the world. In the past, they didn't used to be found, they weren't found so far north, but now, because it's warming up, they're starting to move further and further north. It's one of the most common and widespread dragonflies. It's found in southern Western Europe, Africa, Central Asia, parts of the Arabian Peninsula, and southern India, like you can see on the map. And some are migratory, so they'll breed in sub-Saharan Africa and Asia, but then they migrate in big groups or swarms to mainland Europe and England. So the habitats that they're found in are near water, because they need water to lay their eggs in. I'm not sure if they drink it as well, but they seem to just need a water source a lot of the time. They can be in unshaded and well vegetated habitats. In terms of natural places that they live, these are ponds, freshwater pools, or rivers. But they can also be found in man-made ones, like lakes, man-made lakes, canals, open reservoirs. Maybe the lakes should have gone with the natural, actually, because open reservoirs are usually what man-made lakes are. Large garden ponds, wells, and cisterns, which is another word for well. So in terms of foods, they're carnivorous, which means they eat meat. The nymphs, which are their babies, eat aquatic animals like tadpoles and mosquito larvae, which is quite important for us as well, isn't it? Because we have so many mosquitoes, so they decrease the mosquito population. And the adults sometimes they can eat butterflies, but they eat other things like flies and other insects, and they can also eat their own species, so other dragonflies or the smaller ones. I love this photo. This is a close-up of their eyes. So they have really big eyes to let them hunt so well, and it gives them a really acute vision, it's called, or strong vision. This is the female. She's a bit greener than the male, still quite pretty though. And this is her when she's laying eggs. They refer to it as oviposting. And this is the dragonfly life cycle. So they mate in the beginning, then they lay eggs in the water, wherever they find it, on plants that are floating in the water. These hatch into these aquatic nymphs that breathe through their gills. So you can see at the bottom, that's what a nymph looks like. It's a bit of a strange creature. And then these nymphs, they crawl up stems of plants that they find in the water when they're mature, and they climb up and they start going through these changes. And then eventually they kind of go into a bit of a chrysalis, kind of like a butterfly sort of. And then the skin starts to split and the dragonfly bursts out of this casing, basically. They stay soft and wet at first, but then they dry out and they become, the skin hardens and they're able to fly off and lead their adult life. And the lifespan of a dragonfly, usually they live for 3 months, depending on the quality of the weather. So if it's going to be too cold, then they might not survive so long. So they might survive only for 3 weeks if the weather's too cold. But they can live for another 3 months if the weather is favorable to them. So it's a maximum of 6 months, basically. Okay, so let's get started with painting, but I wanted to show you how many different ways there are of painting them. When I looked up other people's paintings of dragonflies, there's just so many. So this one's quite nice with the gold painted on the wings. The one on the right is really, really detailed. I think it might be in pencil, really amazing drawing. But then you can also get a bit looser and a bit crazier if you want to. So these I really like because they're quite a bit, I don't know, quite quick, but really lovely looking as well. And then these ones are a bit crazier, which I think these are my favorites. So these are really cool as well. So let me stop sharing and we can get painting. If I spotlight this one, I don't know if it's a bit too, yeah, that's a bit lighter. I'm just, that's it. So this is the one that I painted that is, I mean, it's not incredibly detailed, but a bit more detailed. And then I decided to experiment and I painted this one. So maybe we'll find a kind of in between today. Okay, so we need pencil and a rubber. I am going to use a ruler just to find the middle of the page, but if you don't have a ruler, you can kind of guess the middle of the page, it's fine. So this is about, so it's just marking down the middle. And oh yeah, I'll send you the picture I'm working from, sorry. And I've just admitted, I'm not sure if it's, so both Ethan and Stefan, you're on different computers. Okay, cool. And let me send you the photo. Wrong button. Yeah, here it is. Okay, so I've just sent that to you in the chat in case you want to use the work from the photo. But it's fine if you just want to just go along with what I'm doing. So really, if we're going to measure it right here, you can measure the size of the wing and see how many times it goes into the body. So I'm measuring about that distance for the wing. So it's not twice the size, it's about 1.5 times the size of the body. So if I want the wings to come out to here, then the body, if it kind of starts here, so that's the size of the wing, and then about half, so just about fits on my sheet of paper. And the head started around, yeah, around there. So the wings are going to be about here. I'm just putting some marks in at the moment just to, and if I go in line with the other mark, it's about here and about there. So it helps as well to draw a line through. I'm gonna freehand this instead of, you can use a ruler as well. But then the dragonfly isn't completely straight. I don't think anything in nature is completely and accurately straight. It also helps to, so let's decide how big we want the dragonfly. I'm going to draw the twig, because when we're drawing it, it helps to have the lines of either side of the branch or the twig. So I'm trying to make it around the same size, either side. And that really doesn't matter if it's straight or not, because twigs and branches are really straight. Okay, so we're saying that the head we can start drawing. The head is a quite curious shape. It's like the kind of what you'd imagine aliens to look like. And then just having that line in the middle is really helpful because you can make it symmetrical. So these round bits that we're drawing at the moment are actually the eyes. I think we can go a bit bigger. And then the next part of the body is another circular part. And then this part, I'm just going to draw a simple shape. And then here, the tail starts to form and it kind of goes in a little bit and then it comes out. And then we can go down in a relatively straight line either side. Should really finish. Yeah, it finishes at a bit of a point here, and then so I keep comparing the bottom part to a pair of ballet shoes, like black ballet shoes. Okay, so from here we can mark each side that the wings are coming out from. So that's the top ones. And I'm working, so sorry, my throat's a bit slightly sore today. I'm kind of doing things and then mirroring them on the other side. I might bring this up a little bit, because then if I mirror it on on either side, then we can keep it symmetrical. And the other wing comes out. And it kind of goes into that indent, which is quite lovely. A nice line. And it kind of shows that we're doing okay with the general shape of it. So then we want to, the wing comes out up a little bit, then it stops about halfway. And then it comes up. And then if we draw the other wing, okay, that's about right. So we can try and replicate it on the other side. So if we, to help us a bit, can mark where it comes to the top here. It's about there. And it's always quite good to keep your pencil quite loose. And we can bring out, I'm just checking where the line is there. Get rid of, and then we can do that afterwards. Try and get rid of too many pencil lines. One of them. They're about the same size. Okay, so then this one comes out and it's basically comes out to where the other one finishes as well. And this wing kind of needs a bit more of a curve. Actually, I'm gonna bring it down a little bit. Okay, I think I'm happy with that. Maybe Okay, so I'm just gonna lighten up the pencil marks a bit. You do have to be a little bit careful with this, because if you're using watercolor paper, rubbing it too much can affect it. And we do need to put the legs in. Sometimes you can just dab it. And that line in the middle, we can leave it. And even this line on the of the branch, because it still shows through because the wings are transparent. Okay, let's draw the legs quickly. I don't know if I've made the head a bit too big now. Oh, that's better. So you have two arms coming out that side. We do the same on the other. And then there's this one, you can see the other part of the arm. And then from the head, I suppose it's not really an arm, it's a leg. Because they have three pairs of legs. And these, I didn't even notice the first time, but you can just about see them. They kind of stick out behind the wings. Okay, so I'm going to start painting by so the main colors that I'm using are cadmium yellow, the cerulean blue, and Payne's grey. Did I use something else? No, I think that's everything. But if you don't have these exact colors, you can use something, whatever you have that's closest. So cerulean blue is just a light blue. And I already have these colors in my palette. I need to do that. I should put them at the top of the palette. But anyway. And then I'll put some yellow here. So I'm just getting these ready to be able to use this. I'm spraying them with water just to keep them wet. And what I'm going to do first is I'm going to take quite a medium-sized brush and just paint water. We've done this before, but just paint water on the wings. And ideally it's clean water. And it's true, you can't see these colors on, I'm going to paint it on the other one as well. You can't see these colors on the wings, but to give that illusion, it's quite difficult to give that illusion of the shininess and reflectiveness. And we don't want to copy the picture straight away. Exactly, I mean. So we're just going to have some fun in replicating it. So I'm going to put these along the wings here. Now I'll add a bit of blue as well. Because you can actually see some reflections of blue, just slightly. And I'm going to make it I'll paint some yellow. And you can completely do your own thing, of course. These are just suggestions. And because the background is green, that's quite nice to try and represent here. The only problem is that one side dries quicker than the other one. So sometimes you get a bit of a different effect. Okay, I'm going to try painting one and then the other. Still getting distracted with it's just sometimes if I think the color's too harsh, then if you just put your brush in some water to water the color down a little bit. But then we always need to remember, sometimes I forget this, that watercolor is going to dry a lot lighter. Put some green on. Well, green, I'm putting blue in. And it mixes with the yellow. So you don't even need to do any mixing on the palette. Okay, so let's go do the other wing. Try and remember what I did here. Add blue. Okay, it can go, I hope it's not confusing, I kind of go a bit backwards and forwards between places. I notice, I think one part needs a bit of something. Yeah, and you can just keep, it's just quite fun to play, to be honest. And everybody has, I don't know, different perceptions of color. So if you see different colors in there, or if you're seeing it completely different, then go ahead and add it. if there's any areas that you think look a bit too sharp, you can just add some water. Okay, so I'm going to leave that like that for now, and I'm going to take a slightly smaller brush and paint the head. And again, I'm painting it with water first. And we should use a different blue. I'm going to add, and I've already got some here, but some ultramarine blue. But if you just have any dark blue, it's fine. And I'm going to paint this top part with cerulean. And I'm going to add a bit of yellow. And this is the nice thing about watercolors, that it all blends together, and sometimes you just don't know what's going to happen. And then we can add the maybe the middle should be cerulean as well. And obviously all the dark bits can come later, because then if you want to cover anything up, you can get a little bit stronger. Just noticed I forgot to do something. Ideally, we would have left 2 white marks there to show that it's shiny, but we can paint them in with yellow, not yellow, white, sorry. And I'm going to paint this part. And this part is green. Really, that should stay. And I'm just going to mix the colors together on the paper. And we can do something similar here. I'm just going to paint it with water. It's quite nice that the colors coming down and just blending, and it's kind of there that we wanted to start with the blue. Actually, let's paint the tail with water first. Just adding color. Okay, it's drying quite quickly, probably because of the weather. I'm going to take a smaller, oops, just dip that in my drinking water. I'm just going to take some of the Payne's Grey now, and we can start painting in some of the details. You don't have to add the black if you don't want. There's two parts. Yeah, if you don't have Payne's Grey, it's fine. You can just use a grey or a black or a watered down black. Grey might be nicer actually. And I'm trying to keep this quite light as well. And you can just lightly, I mean, sometimes even a suggestion of them is, of the outline is fine. And I just painted, because their wings are incredible. There's just so much detail. And there are some artists that sit and paint every little detail, but I think it might drive me nuts. So there's kind of one main line like this, which is quite nice to put in. I'm just going to go around the edge of this one as well. And it doesn't matter, like I've come off the edge and that's fine. Well, I suppose I would say that in there. And then, so this one, let's just put lines in there. And maybe suggestion of that one. And sometimes it's quite nice if you want to put a little bit of detail in just some places, because kind of gives us a suggestion of the detail there is without putting all of it in. to try and make that the same on the other side. Or similar, not the same. And just a bit of suggestion of the pattern that you find in the wings. And now trying to be a bit, I think it's dry. We just need to be a bit careful to not worry that. To not smudge it, I meant. There's some fine lines here. This looks like the eye, but it's not. It's kind of a bit in between the eye. And we can paint. Legs in. I mean, you can do this with a pen or make them a bit darker. And if you want to you should have painted the branch first, wasn't it? Never mind. And I'll just make it a little bit lighter behind the wing. And then there's the give a suggestion of the shapes on the body. And when I was painting it, I was doing the practice. It's quite interesting to see the middle parts of the body. You know, it depends. If you don't want to go into this much detail, you don't have to. But it's quite interesting to see how the wings connect, how everything is so thought of in nature. These kind of have a bit of a diamond shape. I mean, I'm not going to go paint every single line. I think with the maybe I'll get a smaller brush. I think, yeah, what we can do is if we turn it around and just paint a line in, and then I think I had, let's use this brush. And then you can drag out the line in the middle. Kind of, they keep coming down in these shapes, and what it's reminding me of, that'd be quite a good idea actually, is when you paint, you fold a page in half and you paint one side, and then you paint, and then you fold it over to imprint on the other side, and down the middle, this is what this looks like. So as you can see, I'm just painting a suggestion of what's actually there. Okay, we get into the ballet shoes. And even these are a bit shiny, so if we leave a little bit of a white mark in the middle of each one, and it makes it look as shiny. Okay, so I want to just add a little bit of white paint on top. It's always better if you remember, you don't always remember though, to use the paper white. It looks better. Never mind. And then that bit. And now if we just we need a bit of brown. I'm going to put it in my other palette because I've run out of space. And if we mix this with we can, if you want to, you can mix it with some Payne's Grey just to make it a bit more of a natural brown. And water it down a little bit. And maybe so I'm just painting this in, but really if you wanted some, yeah, if you want a few kind of branch like effects, you can just add some water so that it's just not one solid color. Be dry enough to put my hand on the wings now. And then we can go, so we can give a little bit of a hint of the branch through the wings, which feels a bit counterintuitive because he just painted them so carefully, but it's not much. So Then the last thing to do is to give it some shadow. So if you take some Payne's grey and maybe a little bit of that brown we just used, and we'll just paint. So there's a line there. Because when you give things a bit of shadow, it always kind of grounds them. And I'm just checking because so if the sun's coming from, I mean, you can see it quite clearly in the photo, but the sun's coming from the right hand side, which means the shadow will be on the left. Just blending it a bit. Come around underneath the head. And then there's a bit of shadow. So now it looks like it is on the branch. So yeah, I think it's pretty much done. Obviously you could have gone a bit crazier, but I wasn't quite sure to well, I wanted to show you the detail that can be in the in their bodies basically, but you can experiment now a bit more with other pictures that you draw of them, because I just kept drawing more and more dragonflies. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. I'm just going to stop the recording